Oh, so I saw a post on the Shorecrafted Facebook page earlier today, and it's the first one in a little while actually that I've seen that piqued my interest. And it was about a very specific question about European sales and calculating tax from Shorecart. I took a look at the question, which was about tallying up the amount of tax paid and the countries that they were paid to, for something that I wasn't aware of called one-stop shop. And there's been no native way to pull this from SureCart. And I took a look at what had been done and thought, actually, I'm pretty sure you can do that via the API. So I said as much in the Facebook post and said I'd have a test. And I don't know, about 40 minutes later, I had a MVP, I suppose, an idea of how it worked. And I just had to tidy it up a little bit this evening when I got back. So I'm just going to show you it in motion and how it works. And actually, I think this is just like four. I had to do 6, I think, sends via curl to pull data, see what the data was giving me, to then work out what fields I wanted. But that has allowed you to build something that is totally usable. And actually, once I knew what they were, and I'd done this, and one of the other things I did tonight was stick the information into AI, and actually it came pretty close to exactly what I'd already built. So it's possible to do this sort of stuff even if you don't really understand it. Now, this isn't a working shop, it's just a testing site, and I'm using test data. I did run it on a store earlier, and you can see data being pulled here about when things are being sold, where they're being sold to, and it produces little executive summaries of how much between the time periods of what is being called and pulled. So that I can't show you this with live data because it has live personal information in it and live all sorts of stuff. So I can't really do that. But what I can do is I've created a little test site here. I've connected it to my test site. Now, there is SureCart on this site, but it doesn't need it. You could just put the API, you can install this on any site, put your API key in, and it would generate that in itself because it works through the API, not directly integrating with SureCart. So this site has very little in terms of sales. And in fact, the only sale with a country attached to it is this one for Germany that I did this morning. And what it does is it generates this. So when I refresh this page, it pulls the AI through the pageation, counts the invoices, the line items, and produces a tally. And I can change the date that happens for. So if I change this to here and go back to November, I cleaned this store shortly after Christmas, so I shouldn't get anything. And if I push generate report, I don't get anything. Now, if I remove these, actually, I'll just reload the page rather than having to worry about resetting everything. And it'll re-pull the data for me to work with. Now, currently, it doesn't include the customer name. If you needed that, you could click your box and do the same. And if there was customer name stored, let me just push that and generate the report rather than that. It would then generate this report with customer names installed. Same data. I can export my line items, which is this one here, or my CSV or my summary via CSV. And this is all coming directly from SureCart's API. And it's one of the reasons why I'm such a SureCart fan, because although everyone is right when they say it is a closed system, you do not have direct access to your data. They are right. It is not all stored on your WordPress site. To me, that's actually one of the bonuses. But equally, for some people, it can be a negative. I understand that. But the API is so well documented, so open, that you can do a lot with it. And almost every solution that I post to do with SureCart has some interaction with that API. And because it's so well documented with clear examples, it allows you to pull what you need in terms of data. So what my plan is for this, and I have read since I posted this morning that it's all being expedited already by the SureCart team. So there'll be an official product for this soon enough from SureCart in terms of reports. But what I will do is I will finish this. I've got a couple of bits and pieces to finish to get it to work properly. But what I'll do is I'll type this up into an article over the next few days with the curl commands that I used to begin to build it, so you can understand how I got to this, not how I built a table or filters or any of that, but actually how I interacted with the API. Because I always, whenever I start with that API, I always start with curl and probe the API to get my data, to have a look at what is being returned, to begin to build what I think it looks like. So I need this from this, and I need that, then it opens this, and then I need to expand this return to get this data. And once you understand that and the principles of how SureCart's API works, actually you have really good access to your data, not just on the site that you have SureCart installed either. As I say, although I have SureCart installed, and ironically it is using this API key, this token, it is not using anything on this site. This is effectively just a single snippet in WP Codebox down here to do it. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that. Say it can be done. You can see how it can be done, and say I will spend some time over the next week writing this up into an article and posting the finished code. I don't plan on making changes to it, but it should be enough to help people at least until SureCart release a full report product. Thanks for watching.